This episode of Pop Apologist is brought to you by Booking.com. Whether you want to earn more or grow a full-on hosting business, check out Booking.com today. For the bookings you've dreamed of, list your property on Booking.com. Well. Back together again. 12 hours later, much to talk about.
So much to get into, everyone. So we are back from Camas, Utah, from Ballerina Farm. If you want to hear all about our experience on the Promised Land with Hannah and Daniel Neeleman.
I mean, if you want to hear a play-by-play of Lauren's pilgrimage.
Featuring one and only fashion influencer Courtney Grow and her esteemed, wonderful husband, truly one of the dearest people in our lives, Wyatt Grow. They both joined. Courtney came with us. We do a full play-by-play. Everyone's like, we know, we've seen the Instagram posts. Go join, be a global elite, and you can get that full episode.
We spare no detail.
We truly spare absolutely zero details. Okay, so, but let's get into the matter at hand because we have so much to talk about. The first being, what? Where do
I'm already verklempt. I mean, I think we should talk about the Taylor news because in my opinion, that is the biggest news.
Yeah.
Because that is news that's been sitting with me heavy on my heart, my chest since last week, as everyone saw the video of me, trying to ground myself in the midst of the news. I've just been dying to actually get into it with you.
This news, when we got it, I took a video of you. We were at Sundance and we were having a gorgeous lunch. Chanler was basically on the floor. I just look over at her after we get the news and to provide a brief summary, Blake's attorney sent a letter to Taylor's attorneys, allegedly, according to Brian Friedman, in a letter to the court where he's asking to subpoena text messages from Taylor Swift. Blake's attorneys threatened Taylor's attorneys that if she did not make a public statement in support of Blake Lively, this was February, okay? If she did not do this, that Blake would release 10 years of private text messages. We get this news, and we're just trying to enjoy, as the queen herself, Heather McDonald, would call it, a fucking cute lunch.
We're just trying to have a cute lunch before heading up to Camas, and we're trying to also just kind of gird our loins for what we're about to encounter, And
yes,
it's like we plan God laughs, when it rains it pours, because it couldn't have come at a worse time. I was already destabilized. And then when I heard this, I think it just kind of ripped me open in a way.
You were so unwell at this. So I look over and Chanler is just looking at the sky. So that she's sitting in front of a huge, floor to ceiling windows, and she's looking in, she's almost trying to go blind, looking into the sunlight, just searching for answers. It was the most she was so authentically in pain and not well. You really couldn't talk. So of course I'm like, time to get some content. Whip out my camera. And I just, I'm like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And she's like, I honestly don't know if it is.
Here is why it ripped me open. I think that, we spend the time on this podcast talking about these celebrities, and it's real to us, but to some degree, it's not really that real. And I think talking about the friendships between Blake and Taylor, it's all just sort of make-believe still a little bit. There's drama between the two of them. We don't know what's going on. Or just all of the wild tales that we spin, some of them truthful, some of them, our own theorizing. Okay.
Right. But everything we always talk about, we believe.
Yeah.
We don't spin wild tales.
We don't spin wild tales. All I'm saying is that this just made the realness of this case and the chasm between Blake and Taylor very real to me. And I was just like, Taylor is the godmother of one of Blake's children.
Which, by the way, can I tell you now,
what?
Looking back, seeing how manipulative and conniving and Machiavellian this woman is.
It's eyebrows during this.
I mean, my Botox is not fully in effect.
Allison, get ready.
Yeah. I only a needle could be near my face yesterday. You would not be able to see how truly furious I am, but you can right now, everyone, because
what?
I truly believe, now knowing what Blake Lively is capable of, allegedly, according to Brian Friedman, I believe that the godmother shit, that was fully manipulative.
No.
I do.
Well, okay, believe that if you will. I'm gonna finish. I believe that there is a real friendship there, that there was at least at one point. There was a years-long real friendship. There's vacationing together.
No.
No. Okay, well, whatever. You can believe that. But I do believe at one point there was a real friendship, and that this real friendship totally hit the skids.
You don't do that to a real friend. You never say, I am going to release 10 years of our private discourse and dialogue when you know.
I understand. Let me finish. I totally understand. I'm talking about from Taylor's side. Where all this emotion is for me is from Taylor to Blake. Nope. Like, I believe the friendship from Taylor to Blake has always been genuine. And I believe that maybe, hopefully at a certain point, at least in the beginning, it was genuine from Blake to Taylor. And to just see how things went up in flames behind the scenes, allegedly, brings me deep sadness.
I'm going to channel Alan Jackson for a second, okay? And I'm going to say, Miss Bledsoe, would you agree that Blake Lively is capable of deceit?
Yes.
And that she is, thank you. Would you also agree that even if there was sincere friendship, Blake Lively was capable of knowing that the moniker godmother, that this title would confer a level of control and a level of closeness that would provide Miss Lively with undue power over Miss Swift?
Yes.
Thank you.
100%. And I think
it was low-key a little manipulative.
Potentially. It could have been totally manipulative. Well, let me just say.
Well, no. Taylor is so pure-hearted. She didn't see it coming.
And that's really where we hit the emotion on the head for me, where we get right to the center of it, which is that our girl was duped.
Yeah. Oh. And honestly, after all Chanler of the enemies that started out friends, I have the full.
I feel like we're gonna get an all too well 20-minute version that's gonna be based on the 10-year-long friendship.
Well, and this is the thing about life. I think what?
You are so riled up. I'm loving it. I'm living for it, and I'm loving it. This is the thing about life.
When you're young, all that matters to you is romance and hot guys and your love stories with them and your obsession with that. Like, the drive to procreate is so strong. And I think that as you get older, you realize, like, one of the lessons of getting older is the depth of familial relationships. Like, I'm so much more interested right now in, like, the depth of my relationship with my mother.
Yeah.
Than I was at 19.
Yeah, totally.
And how much more that means to me. And so I just think as Taylor evolves, I think that, yes, to your point, like, she would not, I think 34-year-old Taylor, write a 10-minute song about the refrigerator light, if that had happened to her. But we will get maybe 100-minute song about the betrayal of Blake Lively.
Yes. I would like to propose an alternate theory.
Well, before we get there.
Okay.
One more
thing about life.
I have a poem. No, I don't.
I have a poem prepared
that I will recite from memory. This is something that I just want to say. Because at first when this came out, I think a lot of people were like, especially when the judge said that it was not relevant. A lot of people said, the judge said it's irrelevant. Like, this is just his team trying to get a salacious headline. The thing you have to realize is Brian Friedman is an officer of the court. Yes, and this is under penalty of perjury that he submitted this information. He could be disbarred if he was being duplicitous or deceitful, a la Miss Lively.
Even more intimidating than Lady Justice, Tree Payne.
Oh my gosh, a million times more intimidating. Thank you. So I just want to say that he wouldn't have submitted this if it wasn't true. And also, Travis Kelsey would not have unfollowed Ryan Reynolds. And if there wasn't, I think that him unfollowing Ryan Reynolds, and also we have not seen Taylor Swift near Blake Lively, guess what? The math is mathing.
The math is mathing. And when you start to, show your work for the math, really uncover things, allegedly this happened in February. Mm-hmm. We have not seen Blake and Taylor together since, I believe, October of last year. And I think if you are at the point, in February where it is lawyers talking to other lawyers, the friendship is absolutely on ice, if not on, on fire.
Right.
And I think that this just means that, potentially when Blake filed her lawsuit in December, maybe things really started to go like haywire.
Mm-hmm.
Or, things like, I just think you have to then sort of look back time-wise at when did the friendship really start to crumble and why did it crumble? And look at what was happening. Taylor really wasn't there with Blake
At the Super Bowl.
at like nothing. They have not stood in solidarity since before she filed her lawsuit.
Well, I think that a friendship has to be pretty effing fractured to get to the point where my attorney is reaching out to your attorney.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just imagine how broken you have to be for that correspondence, for that to be the channel. So, and also I go back to this a million times over. If Taylor believed that Blake had been genuinely sexually harassed, she would be by her side. Because Taylor is pure of heart.
And Taylor, at the very least, would have had one public appearance with her. She would have done something.
Exactly.
We have gotten nothing.
And it's also such a Debbie Desperado move to say, okay, release a public statement or I'm going to release 10 years of correspondence. But
can everyone imagine what would happen if we had 10 years worth of Taylor Swift's text messages? I mean, I think the power grid would get shut down.
Even
it would, like, the exes, the chatter.
No. I mean,
people would riot in the streets.
On some level.
You're looking up at the sky again.
If Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump started really sparring on Twitter, okay?
An amazing friendship.
And they started talking about those buttons they can push.
Yeah.
I would have less fear in my heart, okay, than the fear I would have if these text messages were released. And this is my job. My job is to discuss these people. Mm-hmm. I don't want those text messages.
No, I don't want them either. I think it's so below the belt. That expression doesn't even do it justice. I mean, those messages are sacred.
Is Taylor Swift Team Justin?
She has to be.
She has to be. Okay. We need to move on or we will discuss this the entire hour. Unless there's anything else you would like to say.
Now, do you guys understand why I needed to feel the sun on my face? Why I needed to touch grass?
It's just because
I was calling into question everything.
It would be like if we found out. I mean, I think it's actually even worse, but it would be like if there was a cheating scandal with Travis Kelsey right now.
Yeah.
Because it would be like, our girl has been through enough.
Enough.
It's enough. Okay. Chan, what is generally beside me at any given moment?
Two things, Lauren. Lotion? And a fully drank can of Clean Simple Eats Clear Protein.
It's always empty too because I chug it.
It's always empty and they're strewn about your apartment at all hours, any given moment.
It is delicious. You grab it from the fridge. You drink it. It tastes good. Chanler, I drink it for the flavor. I drink it because I enjoy it. And the added benefit of the protein, it's chef's kiss. I absolutely love Clear Protein because it's so convenient and it's such an easy way of getting in protein. I promise you, from the day Clear Protein came into my life, I easily added an extra 40 grams of protein to my daily intake every day on average. That is incredible. Everyone, go to cleansimpleeats.com, use code POPAPologist for 10% off. The Clear Protein, it is a game changer.
Go to cleansimpleeats.com, use our code POPAPologists for 10% off. Do you want to know what got me through wedding season in one piece?
The companionship and constant counsel of your dear sister and co-host?
No, I'm really talking about early bird gummies. I cannot even tell you how many times things got too stressful. Life got a little crazy. There were so many nights where we started to get into the nitty-gritty of wedding stuff and it just felt so overwhelming. We had so much to figure out. And when it was time to, log out of Zola and go to bed, I couldn't shut my brain off. But with Early Bird, I was literally able to take a half a gummy. I was able to get the sleep that I so desperately needed. My beauty rest. I mean, the reason why I look so hot on my wedding day, thanks to Early Bird.
Go to earlybirdcbd.com, use code POPAPologist for 20% off. One bottle will last you so long. And I can tell you, It is the perfect antidote to middle of the night anxiety. Half a gummy and you're enjoying that show a little more. You're melting into your pillow a little bit more. You're enjoying a meal a little bit more. It's a panacea. Earlybirdcbd.com. Use code POPApologist for 20% off.
But we did get a little Taylor tidbit because
Oh my gosh.
everyone on the Handmaid's Tale episode, we heard Look What You Made Me Do, Taylor's version. So things are happening. That song, not my favorite. And, you know, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. But things are happening. You know, the wheels are spinning. And I believe we're going to have Taylor's version of Reputation pretty soon here.
I mean, I believe the theory is that this will be released, this information, at the AMAs. It'll be announced.
Which is when?
Can you look
I'll
it
look
up?
it up.
You look it up while I opine further. Apparently, on her website right now, if you go to the top, it says AMAs, and it's like apparel, merchandise.
6 days.
In 6 days, that there's a bunch of Easter eggs right now that at the AMAs, that is when Taylor is going to announce something. That was what we were talking about last night while we were discussing outfits from 2007 with Courtney, Kyle, and Kelsey, and Wyatt listening patiently. The new information this morning is that it is Rep TV. And would I rather...
Not a new album.
Would I rather be TS12? Of course. But I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I was just at Ballerina Farm,
And
everyone.
what are the chances we have bonus tracks?
No, Chanler. I'm so sorry. We are not all clowning over and over and over again to listen to 2009 Taylor's voice versus 2025 and hear if we can hear any difference. This is all about the bonus tracks.
It's all about bonus tracks, right? I just wanted to make sure that I can look forward to those. So anyway, everyone, lots to look forward to in terms of Taylor's version, Reputation. Lots to not look forward to in terms of the Justin and Blake lawsuit.
Yeah. Can I just say, it just feels good to be back. Like, we are so back.
We are so back, baby.
We have been missing Taylor. She has been reft from us. And we are so back. Okay. Let's discuss another group of women. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. The season 2 has dropped on Hulu. Chanler, you have this show, you have wanted to talk to me about it so much. We've been together a lot recently. I only watched the first 2 episodes in the past 10 hours. But you have been foaming at the mouth.
I've been foaming at the mouth. Lauren and I flew home, and on the flight home, Lauren was looking up at Ballymaloo. Am I even saying that right? I don't even know what these words are. Lauren was looking at the culinary school in Ireland and if she could go. And I was watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives season 2.
Season 2, yes, you were. And you were freaking out about how good it was.
It's just, I mean, the show scratches an itch for me that no other show can scratch.
Okay, gross. Really quick, before we get into it, I just want to say PSA for myself. If you know of a really amazing cooking school that's not Ballymaloo.
Literally nobody wants to talk. Everyone wants to talk about Secret Lives of Mormon.
No, I know. I just want to say PSA, if you know of a really great cooking school, I don't want to learn French cooking. I want to learn just like Alice Waters style cooking. I want to go for 4 to 12 weeks. If you know of one, please DM me. And especially...
What are we going to do with the podcast when you're at cooking school?
Where do you think you'll be?
I'm not. I said to you and Courtney, I said, this is one of your purchases that I think I'm okay to sit out on.
I think you're going to have less freedom than you
think both,
when you move to Popapologist full time.
Anyway, yeah, everyone, please send Lauren your cooking school recommendation. Send it to a personal account. We don't need to clutter our DMs with that.
Please send it to my personal, at Lauren Having Fun, and give me a follow.
Okay. So I've actually watched the first 4 episodes, but I knew that you had a lot on your plate, so I only wanted you to watch the first 2. So we're only going to discuss the first 2 because there's a lot to get into past the first 2 episodes. But I think there's plenty of nuggets to chat about now.
So much to say.
So where do we even begin? Let's begin with episode 1.
Yes.
Okay. And what I love is that the women kind of begin the episode by talking about, the effect of MomTok. And I think, to quote one of them, it's MomTok has been able to push the needle when it comes to the patriarchy. Okay. And I would just like to get Elizabeth Warren on this podcast, and I'd like her to weigh in. Has the needle been pushed?
Is Gloria Steinem still with us?
Yeah, I think so.
Because I would like her to also give some sort of quote
yes.
on how this work has been furthered. I mean, Betty Friedan walked, so the Mormon wives could run. Wow. I mean, okay, and here are the other quotes, which are truly phenomenal because, yes, they led off with a little bit of a manifesto. So MomTok intends to do things like move the needle when it comes to the patriarchy and, quote, push the church to modernize and, quote, live our lives, making videos, smashing men's hearts. This is from our Vulture recap where I pulled that. And the writer said, the policy agenda is clearer than that of 90% of American politicians. I mean, get these bitches in office in 2028. Oh, they know what they want to achieve.
They know exactly what they want to achieve. They are that writer is exactly right. And I just love the way like the MomTok agenda, the MomTok ethos is prevalent throughout, all of the chatter. It's why does she want to get let back into MomTok?
Yeah.
This is not what MomTok is about. They did this last season, but I'm just so happy that it's continuing. I guess with this whole show, I feel like the MomTok of it, which to me is really just like girls, like moms filming dancing videos, has kind of been lost. Like it's not really about that anymore in like their dance troupe.
Right.
It's more about their lives.
Dance troupe.
And so I think that the fact that that is still, that's what the moniker that they are calling themselves and their whole brand and the manifesto that they go back to is just really funny to me because they bring it up a lot.
And I think when it comes to MomTok, I personally just want to say as a health warning to any viewers.
Yeah.
Do not play a drinking game when it comes to MomTok because you will have fatal alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
It's every fourth word.
It's like her timing of wanting to come back to MomTok is suspicious. And the money, like Zach doesn't approve of MomTok.
I honestly am here for it because I think it is a very succinct way of describing their group, their, participation on the show.
Yeah.
It's a little bit, whenever they say it, they break the fourth wall a little bit.
Totally.
Because they're talking about being on the show.
Yeah.
It would be like if the Housewives talked about
Housewives.
Get back into Housewives.
Right.
So I like that.
That's true.
So I'm fine with that, just for the purpose of efficiency and because it just sounds so absurd.
It's so absurd sounding. And it just makes it sound like so much more important. And it is important. They're moving the needle with patriarchy. Well, it is important.
I think that's one of the most confounding and hilarious parts about social media careers is because a lot of times they can seem absurd and silly. Like, I heard there's a kid on YouTube and his entire channel is just opening presents and he makes like millions of dollars a month. Okay.
We are on the wrong train.
So, when it comes to MomTok, though, what's so funny about that is they're constantly referring to MomTok, and then they're like, and yeah, in a single brand deal, I make more than my husband makes in his annual salary. So it's like, maybe we should all just put up and shut up and show some goddamn respect to MomTok.
Put some goddamn respect on MomTok's name. Another thing to their credit.
Yeah.
Everyone is looking very hot. Everyone was already super beautiful to start with, but the brand deals are brand dealing because the glow ups are looking good.
No, they all look gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
And honestly, I have a lot to say about Taylor's mother. A lot. But I was here for her glow up too. You know what? When she sauntered in with a new face, I was like, good for you, bish.
Honestly, good for her. That's basically where my good feelings begin and end. Like
she has to show up to Relief Society and shake her head in shame every Sunday. Let this woman get a facelift.
It's like, do you want to just start there? Let's start with Taylor because Taylor is really, Taylor is the premier or like she's a prima ballerina.
Yeah.
Would we say of MomTok?
She's the center snowflake.
Yes. So everyone, Taylor is back for season 2. She has given birth to Ever.
Aww.
With Dakota, her baby daddy / ex-boyfriend. And Taylor continues to be my favorite part of this show. Because, if I may just say, I think that she is the most real and the least, I think she's the most real and vulnerable on the show out of any of the women. And she continues to be throughout episode 1 and 2.
Well, what she's showing is so real. It's so authentic and it's so devastating. And I think going to when her mom saunters in with the, face V2 and they're chatting on the couch and, she's describing the betrayal of Dakota
Yeah.
and like the depth of her pain.
Should I give people some backstory on that really quick?
Please.
Really quick, everyone. So I said Dakota, her ex-boyfriend, because in season 1, they actually were together. What we see in the first few episodes is, Taylor and Dakota basically separated because she found out that he was lying to her at the beginning of their relationship about whether or not he was seeing other people and the degree to which he was seeing another person. In fact, in the very first episode, we have Jenna, a girl who, we saw a phone call with at the end of season 1, now come onto the show, and her and Taylor chat in Macy's living room about, the lengths to which her and Dakota went to, which is...
And what was really going on?
It was mortifying to watch. It honestly, like, at one point she says, well, I think we just did hand stuff.
No, it's so stunted and infantilizing and hilarious.
Hilarious.
So my favorite part is when Taylor looks at Jenna. She's being emotionally destroyed right now. And she says, well, what did you guys do together? And Jenna's like, well, we did go to the dinosaur museum and we did go to the trampoline park. And it's like such a insane view, like microphone camera lens zooming in on the psychotic and embarrassingly juvenile dating culture of Provo, Utah, which we were mired in when we went to school at BYU.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, it is like so funny to see this culture. It's to see a light shown on it because it's just so embarrassing and absurd. It's like these people are adults.
She's like, we did go to the escape room and we did do hand stuff after.
And these are people in their like mid-20s.
Yes. These are fully grown adults.
That is what you would hear a 13-year-old say for like
and I think that's where the mortification comes in because I experienced
maybe not 13.
Yeah,
16.
Teenagers. That is we experienced that so we were so mired in it. And so anyway, but so it's funny on a level, it's mortifying on a level. Yeah. And then it's also very real because you're seeing Taylor kind of think about the fact that Dakota would just come over at night and like hook up with her. But she didn't. And she's like, he was asking her out on dates. And I was just like, she said like, I was the night girl and she's sobbing, crying. And I think there's the absurdity of like the dating behavior. And then there's the extreme vulnerability and relatability of what Taylor is experiencing with feeling cheap, feeling like you were not important to this person.
Well, and he was lying. He was being duplicitous. He was cheating on you. He was treating you like you were nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I think, again, it's like one of the most painful things a woman can go through is to learn that you had all these intimate encounters that you thought were one way. And then all of a sudden it's like, no, this person is nothing like what I thought they were.
And they were lying. They were... Not only were they holding back, but then they were telling me, that she was pursuing me. Like, it was just a full lie. And
women live in fear of this, I think, every day because we see it so much.
Yeah.
And obviously some women do this to men, but for them, I think this story is more common.
Yes.
In this tale with the man, cheating on the woman. Anyway,
it's really, really sad because I think Taylor is just really raw on camera, mm-hmm. and my heart just like continues to break for her. And this continues into the next episode where we have this family barbecue. And there are other parts of the show that we're going to get into, but I think this was the grossest scene, one of the grossest scenes I've ever seen on TV in terms of family mistreating, family, like being mistreated by your family. And like the fact that they were comfortable speaking like that on camera, the fact that they were comfortable speaking like that at all.
I just think it's actually so important because what MomTok is not doing is pushing, patriarchy forward or tearing patriarchy
Moving
down.
the needle.
Moving the needle of patriarchy. I'm not sure what that means. Or what I think it is doing that's important is shedding a light on how deeply fucked up these patriarchal beliefs mm-hmm. make this entire family.
Right.
Because first of all, so they're at lunch.
They're at a barbecue at Taylor's house and her parents are...
She's at her family home mm-hmm. with her baby daddy who has betrayed her, cheated on her. And this was her biggest fear. She's in deep pain. Her father at the table has the gall, the nerve to say to her in an accusatory way, after she has described how he's betrayed her, well, what does that say about you?
So she says, this is when she's saying, you know, he was taking her out on dates and he was coming over and having sex with me at night. I was the night girl. And, you know, and he says, you know, well, what does that make you?
What does that make you? And
he's like, kind of yells it at her.
Yeah. And
it's disgusting.
It's a full, like, you deserved it.
Yes,
like
you were asking for it.
You were asking for it. You cheapened yourself. How could, you know, men can't resist. You know, you look what you were wearing.
Also, they are so chummy with Dakota. It is very clear to me that they really like Dakota. I think Dakota is one of the most manipulative people I've ever seen on TV. He's got almost like a Jax level to him.
No, he's disgusting. He's abhorrent. And also, it's just so absurd. Like the brother saying, give him an inch so he can run a mile or walk a mile.
Give him an inch
so he can walk a mile. Shut up. This guy is not getting better.
And this guy is not good for her. Their trust has been broken. The fact that everyone is at the table, except for her one sister, is saying, you know, you just need to like make this work. You just need to figure it out with this guy. And no one is saying trust has been broken. Clearly you guys are not right for each other. You need to take, you know, some time. And no one is taking her side. Nobody. In fact, everyone is treating her like this is the best she deserves.
No, because they all labor under this false delusion that it would be better for the kid, this child ever to, okay, so many things to say, to have parents together, the parents that conceived him together, even though they have a fundamentally toxic trust relationship, that apparently would be better than saying, this is never going to work.
You deserve to be with someone you can trust.
You'd both need to experience a lot of personal growth before you find the person you can have a healthy relationship with. It's actually much better for this child to have no memory of you ever being together, because then guess what? He's not even going to know what he's not going to have lost.
Right.
Learn to co-parent, grow, and move on.
It shows how stunted their view is of family and human relationships, like what the best they can be. And you shouldn't be in a relationship like that.
And it exposes this really absurd idea that divorce or parents broken up is the worst thing that could ever happen. It's not.
It's not.
It's absolutely not. And
what's worse is seeing a really bad relationship play out, and then you learn that that's what normal relationships look like.
1,000,000%.
This episode of Pop Apologist is brought to you by Booking.com. If you've ever walked into a gorgeous vacation rental and thought, I could totally host something like this is your sign. Listing your place on Booking.com opens the door to more guests, more bookings, and yes, more income. It's one of the most downloaded travel apps in the world, which means your property gets serious exposure. Over the past 25 years, Booking.com has helped more than 1.8 billion vacation rental guests find a place to stay. Why not help them find yours? And it's not just about reach. You're in full control. Your calendar, your rates, your rules. You can message guests, manage your finances, and run your rental like a pro. The best part? Getting started is actually easy, like under 15 minutes easy. And nearly half of new hosts get their first booking within a week. Already listed somewhere else? No problem. They'll help you import your info. Whether you want to earn more or grow a full-on hosting business, check out Booking.com today. For the bookings you've dreamed of, list your property on Booking.com.
Pop Apologists is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
I'm going to go back to the day before when the mom has the gall. She's sitting on the couch with her broken daughter. And she says to her, by the way, this child is in her arms as she says this. I really wish you would have thought about all of this before you got pregnant. This child is right there. So you are going to discuss on camera the idea that you think that this baby is a mistake. You regret his birth on some level. Grow up. The parents need to grow up.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know.
And they're just a little too comfortable on camera.
We can be very kumbaya when it comes to like religious, you know, all religions. But you see the way that I'll just say it, I think their religion has stunted them.
Yeah, 100%.
And they truly they're the ones that need to do some growth.
Absolutely. And I think the fact that they can't put their daughters like her feeling personally safe and loved above just like, you know, a nuclear family, and just like her being together with her baby daddy is so, it's just really sickening. I had like a pit in my stomach watching that whole like scene. And it's not until her other sister is like, you guys, like, they're screaming, yelling at each other, and she's like, you guys need to be separate. This is like, you know, this is not working, and it's not good for the baby. Like, her sister is the only one with like any type of sense.
No, and the sister who comes over and is like, maybe we'll take the baby away from this situation.
Yes. And another thing, like, Sweet Taylor talks about how, so the guy that we see on the show who's with her mom, that's not her biological dad. Her biological dad, she did not have a relationship with him. And the only time she met him, he just like came up to her and was like, hey, what's up, kid? And never spoke to her ever again. And it's really traumatic for her.
Right.
Clearly there are some deep issues. And the fact that her mom doesn't have more sensitivity, more awareness like for that. And I just can't believe that's the way her family treats her.
I think that's the way a lot of families treat their children, which is also going to explain the relationship of Jen and Zach.
Yeah, let's get into it.
And as they continue to try to fight for their marriage and make it work.
He really wants to, you know, love Jen.
He loves her so much, he'll do ketamine therapy with her.
First of all, I'm glad he got a haircut.
Yeah. The haircut is really helping at least this show be more visually watchable.
Agreed.
In this man.
He to me represents the most stunted man you've ever met in Utah.
Her having to like explain to him that he needs to consider her feelings before his own is truly, it's like saying to someone, you shouldn't beat me. Like, you should, you know, you shouldn't abuse me. I need you to learn that lesson.
Yeah.
Again, it's what we see is these young women who really don't know their value and worth. And so they will try to fix a toxic relationship. They will try to be with a broken man, a stunted man, instead of learning their own value. And also, I just want one of the adults to say, you are all children. You can all just have second chapters with someone else.
Right.
These can all be starter marriages. By the end of your life, you'll have forgotten about these guys.
Yes.
Like,
you could be with someone who doesn't need to like come to grips with who you are and who you're evolving into, you know, as you grow up. You know, I think what's so rich about this whole situation is that, you know, he's in medical school. He hasn't proven himself to be, you know, be able to bring home the bacon.
He's not in medical school. He dropped out.
Oh yeah, well he dropped out. Exactly. He dropped out. Jen is the one bringing home the bacon. MomTok is her career. Okay. And he is struggling to approve of it. He doesn't approve of MomTok. Well, I'm sorry. How are you going to pay the bills?
Right.
And you know, he really just like, he thinks that all of the people on MomTok are beneath him, that he is too good for them.
I think he's clearly one of these Provo guys.
Yes.
From a family who's did relatively well, and so he's high on that supply.
Yeah.
And also, I'm sure that he's had many talkings too from his parents about how trashy and tacky her participation is, and he's dealing with a lot of, you know, his baggage from that. What I loved was when Jesse and Demi, they talk with Zach and they tell him what Jen has said about him, because it forces Jen to confront and to have him confront the reality of how horrible he's been.
Right.
She is still like protecting him from her own feelings.
Yeah.
And I felt like what they did was really not something she enjoyed, obviously. Like, she didn't want them to cause more problems. But she clearly had not actually made Zach fully reckon with his actions.
Yeah.
And what she really thinks about him.
I just keep going back to like when he's like, you know, and I said those things in Vegas and I'm going to have to live with that for the rest of my life. It's like, don't try to be the victim here. But no, I think you're exactly right. And, you know, I think Demi and Jesse are a lot more emotionally equipped for things on the show. And I think we see that come across. I will say
Demi's pretty bold. Jesse seems extremely mature to me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just think that they're both. I think they are just like they're both more mature to me than some of the other girls on the show.
Right.
That's what I've seen. They've both been married before. I don't know. They might be slightly older. I'm not actually entirely sure. But some of these women on the show feel very young to me, and some of them don't feel quite as young in terms of just like mental I don't know.
Wisdom.
Wisdom.
A little bit of wisdom.
Yeah,
a little
totally.
perspective.
I mean, and I think even when Jessie says, you know, she says at one point, like, there's not a lot of success stories from when things are that bad that it ever gets to be better.
Right.
You know?
And that's the friend you need in your life.
And that's true. I believe that's true. One more thing I want to point out about Jen and Zach, and then we can move on. There's a moment where after ketamine therapy, where he says, I would just give anything to like go back to that day in Hawaii running through the coffee fields. And I think, that was a moment where it really shows that he doesn't actually like who Jen is now. He just wants to have whoever he married, you know, at 19 or whatever. I don't actually know when they got married. It's all like when his ketamine therapy experience was not about, I love you, I love our life together. Let's grow old together and figure it out. It was like, I just wish I could have that girl back.
Right. It's like, could we go back to when you just let me do whatever I wanted, when you worshiped the ground I walked on, when you were a total, when I was on ketamine, I remembered you when you were a doormat. And it was gorgeous.
Yes, it was gorgeous. And I would give anything to go back to that day. Okay, sorry. There actually is one more thing. He also talks about how he does not go to church anymore. But the reason that he doesn't go to church is just that people aren't very nice to him. It's not like there's been no kind of like deeper shift with him beliefs wise. I don't know.
These people aren't that deep.
Right.
So it's not about
like there's no conviction there.
No, it's not like, well, I'm going to atone for my sins. I'm going to deal with this public scorn.
Stand up for my wife.
Yeah, and but my religion and the Book of Mormon means so much to me, and taking the sacrament every Sunday that I'm actually just going to deal with it. It's like, it's just a lot of these people, they just go with the flow.
Yeah.
They get along to go along.
Yeah.
Or they go along to get along.
Something like that.
Whatever. And exactly, their religion actually doesn't run that deep inside of them. And so the second it stops working for them.
Or being comfortable.
Yeah, the second it stops being comfortable for them, all of a sudden they don't go. But they're the first people to criticize people who are gay and leave.
Right.
It's like, well, if only they could have,
persevered.
God.
Yeah.
It's just...
the show brings up a lot for us.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'm excited for you to keep watching.
Anyone who doesn't know, we grew up Mormon and we went to BYU.
Yeah.
So.
We're very, very familiar with this entire culture.
Indeed.
I'm so excited for you to keep watching.
Really? Does it get crazy?
Oh, it gets even better. Gets even better, baby. And yeah, like just buckle in. So we'll keep talking about it, obviously.
One thing I will say, not to malign an entire community, but
Here we go.
Any young women listening to our podcast who potentially live in Provo, Utah, if you are dating in Provo, Utah, I would highly encourage you to leave, because this is the kind of toxic culture and the kind of men that are there. And
Not every single one, but a lot of them.
But
basically every single one that I dated.
And these beliefs that they have are so deeply ingrained and conditioned within them. Like, get out.
I mean,
you can have a whole new chapter as well. When I left Provo, 24, 25, I mean,
four score and 7 years.
Yeah. It's not like I never found a man or found any,
And
it's just these women are so stunted.
So stunted.
And I kind of see my by yourself a tiny bit in them.
I absolutely see myself in it. I see the way that I thought that I was literally, used goods at 22 because I wasn't married.
Right.
And I think too, you need to meet men. If you're looking for a man, you need to meet men or people, the person you want to spend your life with, who have also lived elsewhere, who have just experienced like life outside of Mormonism, and just like who have just seen the world from like a new lens, and their mission does not count.
Thank you. Amen. And also, not that the only thing that matters is finding a man. Also, just your mental peace of not being in this toxic culture.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think when you're at that age, that is the thing you're focused on.
For sure. Yeah, 100%.
So anyway.
Okay.
Lately, I've been trying to simplify my grocery routine, save a little money, eat a little better, and avoid the chaos of the store. That's when I tried Thrive Market, and it just made everything so much easier. Thrive Market is basically your favorite health food store, but it's online. It's way more convenient and it's way more affordable. I'm getting brands I already love like Simple Mills, Siete, Primal Kitchen, but up to 30% off regular prices. And I'm not wandering crowded New York City aisles trying to make last-minute decisions. I use Thrive Market because it's easy and I can find all the things my family needs in one place. It's made shopping feel a lot more streamlined and honestly kind of satisfying. One of my favorite things to order are the chocolate peanut butter cups. They're delicious, they ship fast, and they always cost less than what I see in the store.
Skip the junk without overspending. Head over to thrivemarket.com/pop to get 30% off your first order and a free $60 gift. That's thrivemarket.com/pop. thrivemarket.com/pop. The minute the weather warmed up, I realized I was ready for a summer wardrobe that actually matched how I wanted to feel. Light, confident, and put together. So I gave my closet a refresh with Quince, and it was such a win. I picked up their 100% European linen shorts and a gorgeous linen dress, both under $50, and brought them on my honeymoon. The quality is incredible. Everything felt so elevated and easy to wear. I could throw it on and instantly feel stylish without even trying. Quince nails that balance of timeless and comfortable, and the price point blew me away. I've bought similar pieces for way more, and these feel even better. They partner directly with top artisans and ethical factories, no middlemen, no markup. From breezy dresses to Italian leather sandals and luxe swimwear, Quince has all the essentials for an effortless summer without the luxury price tag. Treat your closet to a summer glow up with Quince. Go to quince.com/apologist for free shipping and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/apologist.
So I want to talk to you about Karen Reed.
Please.
Some updates on Karen Reed.
Do you know that Mom and I send each other updates all the time? Mom's like, I hate the prosecution today. Or mom will say, I really hate Judge Bev.
Mom is really not going to enjoy this segment because I am not doing a hermeneutical study, okay? Just piece by piece, layer and layer of text.
I love that word. I don't know what that word even means.
Hermeneutics is basically the interpretation of language. So it's
that's amazing. It's like you're so smart.
I think
You are. When did you learn that word?
in my hermeneutics course.
Oh, really? Okay, so you
Yeah.
did that. It's like you didn't just pick it up in one of your books.
No.
Well, lovely.
Okay.
Take us through your top line.
Yes, this is going to be, as they say in the business world,
Give us another word.
well, no, what do they say in the business? It's just like they always say-
10,000 degree
Yeah,
view?
we're gonna do
1,000-foot view? Or 1,000
sky high, keep it top level. Did you say
top level? Yeah, top level it.
Whatever. Okay, we're just going to go over a few of the new key developments.
So earlier you were channeling Alan Jackson.
Yeah.
Can you channel him a little bit more? You're wearing a blazer, so you're it's kind of perfect.
I am wearing a blazer. I have not worked out my biceps very much recently, so I'm not sure.
Testosterone.
I'm not on T, so I'm not sure if I can honestly channel Alan a little more. But what I can do is walk you through some updates in the case.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So there have been two key witnesses. The first is the digital forensics expert Shannon Burgess, which is a man.
Okay.
Shannon Burgess's testimony, and that has become a focal point due to both his technical findings and challenges to his credibility. So Burgess, representing Aperture LLC, analyzed data from Karen Reed's Lexus SUV identifying two, quote, significant triggering events, a 3-point turn and a backing maneuver. These events are central to the prosecution's timeline, suggesting Reed struck John O'Keefe with her vehicle. Burgess also noted a quote, clock variance between the SUV's internal clock and other devices, which he used to align vehicle data with O'Keefe's phone activity.
Okay.
Defense attorney Robert Alessi scrutinized Burgess's qualifications, revealing discrepancies in his resume and his LinkedIn profile. Burgess admitted he did not possess a bachelor's degree, despite claims to the contrary, and acknowledged that his LinkedIn page contained inaccuracies. Alessi further challenged Burgess's objectivity by highlighting a footnote in his report that referred to the case as a homicide, suggesting a presumption of guilt.
Right.
Technical errors in Burgess's analysis were also pointed out, including confusion between bytes and bits.
Bytes and bits.
Yeah, basically saying you don't really actually.
Oh, they're literally proofreading?
Yeah,
he didn't spell bytes right?
I think bytes are different than bits. And they're saying you use this term when you should have used this term.
But in terms of digital technology.
Yeah, and his
Sorry, I'm thinking about the dog.
No. Yes, we're not with the dog. So basically they're just kind of,
you might be not actually up to snuff.
yeah, exactly.
Got it.
Okay. The second I think is more interesting. So this is Sergeant Yuri Bucha.
Oh, I know all about Yuri Bucha.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. Chandler's like, I subscribe to his OnlyFans. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. The way you said that was a little horny.
Well, I just definitely not that. He was just he. If I'm right, isn't he the supervisor of Proctor?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So Sergeant Yuri Bucha A Massachusetts state police officer and key investigator in the Karen Read case recently concluded his testimony after 3 days on the witness stand. His testimony has been pivotal, shedding light on both the investigative procedures and internal dynamics within law enforcement. So here are some key points. Buchanan supervised Trooper Michael Proctor, the lead investigator who was later terminated for misconduct, including sending derogatory text messages about Karen Read. Buchanan acknowledged giving Proctor a positive performance review despite these issues.
Wow.
Leading to his own disciplinary action, a forfeiture of 5 vacation days for inadequate supervision, and submitting an inaccurate review.
Wow.
There were also evidence collection concerns. So the defense questioned Buchanan about discrepancies in evidence handling, such as the timing of the seizure of Reed's SUV and the integrity of the surveillance footage from the Canton Police Department's Sallyport garage. Buchanan admitted to certain oversights, including not correcting a discrepancy regarding the SUV's seizure time. Just all of this really corroborating the idea that these folks were in cahoots.
Yeah. And so, Trooper Proctor is the person who, was in charge of this case. He was the guy who, all of the prosecution's case rests on him and the evidence he collected and the timeline that he put together. And he's been dismissed. And that to me is everything about this case. That kind of says it all.
Right.
And so Buchanan is his boss. And it just goes to show that, Buchanan was covering for Proctor. So it's like, you can't trust this. You can't trust the boss's boss. Why are we going to trust anything from these people? Where does the corruption stop?
No, it's such a good point. And I think also another piece of this is they really examine just the amateur hour that investigation was.
The collection of evidence in red Solo cups, Stop and Shop bags.
Also, that they didn't actually make any sort of markings of where they collected anything. And I was listening to a podcast, diving deeper into this, and what they said is actually putting marks where you found something.
Yeah.
That is what you learn, okay? In Crime Scene Investigation 101. Place markers for where all the evidence is found so that they can map out and the people who reconstruct the crime scene, they can make all their calculations to figure out what actually happened. But instead it's like, oh, we found that piece a little over there. This one it was all general vicinity.
Yeah. I have to show you something also.
And so I guess I just want to double tap on this.
Yeah.
He knew, okay? Those investigators, they knew how to properly mark a crime scene. They purposefully fogged up this entire investigation and made it impossible to figure out what actually happened.
Okay, please.
Allegedly. Boston Police Department, don't sue me. Now I know what you're capable of, so I will say allegedly.
That's them recreating what 18 pieces of taillight look like.
47,
excuse me. Yeah. I just showed Lauren a picture, which is a recreation of what it would look like, in the snow if there were 47 pieces of taillight. And it's quite staggering. You can really see 47 pieces of taillight. And I think that what is trying to be proven here is that it's pretty interesting that they didn't see a lot of the taillight before, but then they saw a lot of it later on in the day.
And there's also red. They found the clear glass pieces right away. But there were 47 pieces of red taillight that they didn't see till 5 o'clock after they'd taken her vehicle into custody.
It's amateur. It's at best it's amateur hour. At worst, it's a full blown conspiracy.
My question is who I want the Boston Police Department. I guess that's what the FBI will do, right? Is come after these police officers.
Well, I think
they're under federal investigation right now, but apparently the jury can't know that.
Yeah. Must have been crazy to try to get a jury pool for this.
So a few more details. Under cross-examination, Buchanan was confronted with a group text message where he reacted with a thumbs up emoji to derogatory comments made by Proctor about Karen Read. Buchanan defended his action by citing First Amendment rights, although he acknowledged the comment was unprofessional. One thing I also read was that a lot of times when you're a member of the jury, it's not just what someone says, it's their energy when they're speaking, giving their testimony. And what they said was, when he was giving testimony to the prosecutors, he was cordial, he was professional, all was good. And then once defense comes up to cross-examine, his energy completely shifts.
Yeah.
And this is someone who's supposed to be impartial and an investigator.
Someone who's supposed to just want the truth to
Yes.
get, sorted out.
It's so clear. I swear to you, if Karen Reed is convicted, we are breaking her out of jail.
Literally Prison Break style. I don't know. I'll start digging.
We will, Count of Monte Cristo, dig a tunnel for that bitch, okay? And I'm going to get her to St. Bart's because
She deserves it.
she deserves a cocktail at Eden Rock after all this shit. Okay. Let's get to the latest with Diddy's trial.
Yeah. I mean, she probably would actually prefer that you just donate to her legal fund that she's like in some serious debt for. So just, but that's a lovely thought.
Well, I'm talking, yes, we're going to do that if she's acquitted.
Yeah.
But if she's not acquitted,
Right.
she's got to get out of jail. But
Right.
she doesn't care about the debt when she's,
In jail.
and when she's just with Jen Shaw
Yeah.
and Elizabeth Holmes. Let's do a high-level overview of updates in the Diddy trial.
Yes.
So Cassie Ventura took the stand. She gave her testimony. She described her 10-year relationship involving physical abuse. She testified about Diddy and his unpredictable behavior. She said that he would hit her for simply making, quote, the wrong face or talking back to him. She broke down in tears, recalling how her ex would just become a different person. The best way to describe it is his eyes just go black.
Ugh.
That version that I was in love with was no longer there.
It's like he became soulless.
One of the prosecutors asked, how many times did Sean throw you to the ground before? And she said, too many to count. Her forced participation in drug-fueled sex parties, aka freak-offs, began when she was just 22. She alleged that Diddy would direct her and a sexual partner on what to do in an act of what she believed was voyeurism. Freak-offs were regular events, get this, between 2009 and 2023. I don't think Cassie was involved with them up until 2023, but Diddy was holding them between 2009 and 2023. The longest freak-off, you know this detail.
I don't know if I do.
The longest freak-off, Chanler, lasted 4 days.
Sorry.
You can barely record for longer than an hour and a half.
Literally, I'm like, time to go. Time to lay down. Time to be horizontal.
Exactly.
I mean, that's when you are under the influence of crazy substances.
Even then.
I don't know. And also, I have no words. I can't explain this.
You're verklempt.
I'm verklempt.
It's so shocking and so depraved. And this is where my Mormon roots will show. And I will say, there is a great and spacious building, okay? And there's no amount of Dan Savage sex positivity mumbo jumbo that I want to hear about.
Savage.
Dan Savage hosts.
Is he like on talk radio growing up or something with dad?
He hosts a show that's like all about sex positivity. I think it was on Sirius XM.
I'm thinking of somebody else anyway.
Anyway,
Getting him and Rush Limbaugh confused.
there's just no amount of, I don't know. There's no amount of polyamorous
you know what? Whatever.
spokespeople that could convince me that this is something the human spirit should be involved in.
You know what? And they don't want you. They don't want you.
Call me Serena Joy, but I feel like freak-offs should be against the law. This is just wrong. This is just wrong.
So many things about this are wrong. I mean, it's like, I think we can just state that what was happening at these parties was terrible, and so much of it was not consensual, and people were there when they didn't want to be,
Yes.
and were having to do things they did not want to do, I just hope that like he actually gets the book thrown at him, and that it's not just like gets caught up in the legalese of like the racketeering or whatever the other, because so much of what he's actually on trial for is not like necessarily like 4-day freak-offs.
No,
you know?
for sure.
Anyway,
That's
the other thing, Cassie, I believe, was like 8 or 9 months pregnant on the stand.
Yes.
She just the bravery,
Mm-hmm.
and I believe they like wouldn't let her husband be in the room.
Alex Fine. Yeah, I don't know if he was allowed to be in. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I know that there was like I know that was kind of contested, and what's interesting is that Diddy actually hired him to train Cassie.
Okay. That is interesting. Another point of this that I want to bring up, though, is there are people who say this is just a Cassie cash grab. She got the cash already. She got the cash. So what's the purpose of the 3-day testimony unless this actually already, and then all of this is true, and she wants justice. To go 8 months pregnant and describe in gruesome detail, and then also have someone cross-examine you and try to make you out to just be a duplicitous liar.
Right. Like someone who, you loved it.
Right. You wanted this. You were, you were just as into it as he was.
Yeah.
To deal with that because you just you want to, she already got the cash.
Yeah.
There's no reason she would put herself under this sort of scrutiny and also go through that if it weren't for wanting to actually have him be behind bars for what he did.
Yeah.
And also, another thing,
dangerous.
Like people always criticize the boys who received their settlement from Michael Jackson's estate.
Right.
The men, excuse me. And it's like, I'm sorry, that's the only way as a civilization we have decided people can make restitution for wrongs, right? In a civil way.
Yeah.
It's through money. It's an exchange of money.
Yeah.
And guess what? Yes, if you've had something horrible like this happen to you, it's going to change your entire life. It could make you not able to hold down a job because you're so mentally destroyed. So yeah, money works. Give her some money.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cassie testified that Diddy controlled all aspects of her life, from pressuring her to get implants to influencing what hairstyle she wore. He also allegedly encouraged her to get her clitoris and nipples pierced. Despite settling the civil lawsuit in 2023 for $20 million, she said she's testifying now to, quote, do the right thing.
Well, because, I think there was some award for there was some Diddy award. It's like she got her money, but it's time people know that he is a bad man.
Yeah. And I think also it's
like, you can't sleep at night knowing that this bad man is being publicly praised.
And I think that it's important for all the other Diddies we don't know about. Just the rich men who throw their gross sex parties and drug women on their private jets and on their super yachts. It's important for them to see that if Sean Diddy Combs can go to prison, you bet your ass can go to prison.
Right. I think especially when we feel like the Jeffrey Epstein stuff was such a letdown. In terms of is that a bad thing to say?
No, it's just there was no actual justice.
Yeah, no actual justice.
None of the men who committed the assault and child rape are in jail.
Yeah.
Only the woman who was involved in the sex trafficking. Yes, she should be in jail. And guess what? All those men. Prince Andrew should be in jail.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Well, now that we have said Prince Andrew should be in jail, I think it's time for us to conclude this episode. Allegedly.
I need to be tranquilized. This was a very chill episode. Glad we just got to shoot the breeze.
Literally, just the lightest of subject matter. Thank you for taking us through these cases.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being here with me today. Everyone, if you like what we're doing here, if you enjoy the show, please consider being a global elite, subscribing to our bonus episodes. There's one that drops every Monday and a mini episode that drops every Friday. So it's 3 Pop Apologist touch points throughout the week. We pour our heart and soul into the show, and we really just appreciate every single person who is a subscriber and
every single person who listens.
And every single person who, lends their ear
to our nonsense.
To our brain rot nonsense.
Yes.
Okay, love you guys, and we'll be back on Friday, and then on Monday, and then next Wednesday.
And then on Wednesday. Bye.
Are you looking for your next case? Pluto TV has all your favorite crime dramas streaming for free.
You're gonna need some backup.
Which means suspense is free.
Very cool.
Watch CSI New York, Criminal Minds, Blue Bloods, Tracker, FBI, and SWAT all for free.
You can't outrun this.
Someone's gonna pay for all this crime. But it's not gonna be you.
Take care of business, fellas.
Watch all the cases, all for free, from all your favorite devices.
We got you.
Feel the free. Pluto TV. Stream now. Pay never.
Clocking out of the Content Factory. I'm Tucker.
And I'm Becca. And this is a podcast where we take a break from climbing the absolute corporate ladder that is being a TikToker.
That's right. This is the most corporate podcast for the least corporate girlies.
In this pod, we're in the break room with you guys, our gorgeous, gorgeous coworkers.
And you may be wondering, what goes on in the Content Factory?
Give us the agenda, Tucker.
Well, each episode starts with a performance review.
Where we talk about what's going on in the week, content we're making, DMs we're getting.
A little peek behind the curtain of the content creator life. We also will be doing an HR report.
Where we ask you guys during the week, what is some workplace drama you got going on?
And we'll end each episode with a rapid fire and hire.
Things we want to get rid of and things we want to keep.
For example, Becca, what do you want to fire this week?
My IBS.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And before we go, we have some action items for you.
Please complete by end of day. Follow, rate, and review The Content Factory wherever you get your podcasts.
And as always,
we'll circle back soon.